Why hard work does not always lead to success.
And if you'll do those three things, accept responsibility, set written goals, and learn everything you need to learn to achieve your goals, you'll transform your life almost like a miracle.
You can work as hard as you want, but if you're not moving in some direction or towards something, you're just going to keep working and just sort of going in circles.
My guest today is someone who doesn't need an introduction, and he's actually joining us with his daughter to talk about the reasons why hard work doesn't actually lead to success and how you can actually become a high-performing, successful person in real life. Tracy is the top-selling author of numerous books that have been translated into dozens of languages. His daughter, Dr. Christina Stein, PhD, is a speaker, author, and psychotherapist. Brian and Christina are the co-authors of the book, Believe It to Achieve It. I'm your host, Kiana Danielle, the founder of the Invest Diva movement, the march to jump on to take control of your financial future and to make your money work for you. My mission is to help 1 million moms start investing on their own by the year 2025. So if you are a mom or if you know of other moms who could benefit from taking control of their financial future, please spread the word and help us make this huge impact. The best place to start is learn.investiva.com/yes. We're going to cue in the intro and let's go say hi to Brian Tracy and Christina Stein. Thank you so much for being here. We have covered so much awesomeness in the previous episodes. We talked about money. We talked about believing. We talked about how to talk to your children, how to talk to your spouse, about a lot of awkward topics such as money and sex and all the things. So if you haven't checked out the previous episodes, go ahead. We are going to share the link to them in the description area of this video as well. But today we're going to talk about something that is very interesting, and I think a lot of people can identify with it. Have you ever thought about okay, no matter how much I work, I'm not becoming successful. Why am I'm working my butt off. I'm working literally 18 hours per day. But look at this guy, this next guy who's sitting in his Lamborghini or whatever, and he doesn't even work. So what is the difference? Why am I not being successful? And I believe that Christina and Brian have some answers for us. Brian, does hard work always lead into success?
Well, thank you for kicking off the question. I did not graduate from high school, and I worked at laboring jobs. My first major job was washing dishes in the back of a small hotel. And I used to joke that my first promotion was up to pots and pans. And I got an extra 2 cents an hour for pots and pans. And then I moved on and I washed cars in a car lot. And then I moved on and I washed floors for the janitorial service. I used to joke that I thought washing was going to be in my future. And my wife has been very helpful to me. She's always giving me things to wash: babies' bottoms, dishes, counters, floors, and things like that. So I went from place to place. I worked in factories. I worked in sawmills. I worked on a farm during the harvest. I was an itinerant farm laborer. This is a person who works on the farm during the harvest. I slept on the hay in the farmer's barn, got up at dawn so we could get out to the fields by first light. We'd bring in the crop all day long until dark, and then we go back and eat with the farmer's family, go back to the barn again and sleep on the hay. And when I could no longer find a laboring job because the harvest was over, I got a job in sales. And this was a turning point in my life. And I learned something that's terribly, terribly important, is you get out of life what you put into life, and you get out of life what you put into yourself. So what happens is I struggled in sales and I knocked on doors all day long. I made an average of 70 calls a day. I made 20,000 calls in my first year, and I got rejected almost 20,000 times because I never had any training. And then one day, I asked one of the top salespeople in our company. He was earning 10 times as much as I was. And I asked him what he was doing differently from me. And he explained how he sold. And it turned out that when he'd gotten out of community college, he got a job in sales, and they taught him the sales process. And there's pretty much a standard sales process. And so he showed me what the sales process was. I'd never heard it before. I was just absolutely amazed. It was almost like trying to cook in the kitchen and having the ingredients, but you didn't have a recipe. And you just kept mixing the food and it never tasted good. Well, my income was terrible. So he said, no, these are the steps that you take. And so I went out and I started to follow the steps that he had been taught, that he used. And a year later, I was earning 10 times as much as I was at the beginning. And I learned that all of life is cause and effect. As you get out what you put in. If you want to earn more money, then you have to develop your skills. You have to get up a little earlier and study your work. You have to work a little harder. You have to work on evenings and weekends. You have to take additional education. You have to dedicate yourself to continuous learning. And as you continue to learn, you become more and more valuable. You get more and more results. And as you get more results, you get more results faster. And then they pay you more. And as a result, you get promoted and you get paid more and so on. And my whole life changed. And everybody who is watching this has extraordinary potential to earn 5, 10 times what you're earning today. But you have to build up your skills and your knowledge. You have to ask questions and read and study. You can't work during the day and then come home and watch TV and hang out with your friends and go drinking and so on and so forth. Because what happens is your income, your earning ability stays the same. So a question that I ask, turn this back to you, a question I ask my sales audiences, I say, what is your most valuable financial asset? And I let them think about that for a while. And they think, my house, my car, my savings account. I say, no, your most valuable financial asset is your earning ability. It's your ability to earn money. It's your ability to get results that people will pay you for. This is the most important single factor in your life. It determines where you live and your lifestyle and your clothes and what you eat and your car you drive. Everything is determined by your earning ability. And your earning ability is limited only by your own imagination. So you find that Christina, for example, she grew up in a good home, but she has spent hundreds, maybe thousands of hours studying her field, studying the craft of psychology. And as a result, she's a highly paid professional. And somebody else that she went to school with didn't. And as a result, they worry about money every single day. So remember this, your job is to increase your earning ability every day by continually learning more knowledge and skills that enable you to get more results that people will pay you for. And that was the turning point in my life. And I've trained millions of people in this, and they have literally revolutionized their lives and gone from rags to riches. I say rags to non-rags. And it works for anybody if they will do it.
No, absolutely. Student for life. So it's investing in yourself is what really has the highest interest rate of return, because every time, and it is true for me too. And I guess you can see the books that I've written in so many different topics that is like all over the place. But it led me to where I am today. So for example, first, I didn't know anything about trading. I was an engineering student. I hated it. I started trading and I made a little bit of money. Then I lost a ton of money. Then I learned about investing. And that is like, it built. And one thing that I've seen, and I feel like Ryan would agree to as well, and Christina, is that you want to find the people who are successful in the field that you're passionate about and let them guide you. Like, let them shortcut it for you. Because like literally, if I could go back 15 years in time and tell my past self, I mean, I really don't know how my life would have been different, but I spend so much time just trial and error. I'm like, da, 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 like Brian did, like 20,000 rejections. Oh my God. Everybody, like, some people would just like, okay, that's not for me. I'm not going to do sales. What Brian did is like, he went and learned about it. And unfortunately, he had to go through the trial and error period. And a lot of people have to go through the pain in order to actually value the education itself. But you guys, if you're young and you're watching this, just get the education. I know it might be expensive. It might sound expensive right now, but it will pay off. And every time, and I'm like, nobody is cheaper than me. Like, I'm Jewish. I'm like cheap. I'm proud of it. But you know what? It didn't work well for me when I was cheap in my education. And I had to talk about this with my husband as well. Like, he was like, why are you spending $20,000 on a coach? And I'm like, well, because it's going to teach me how to make $1 million. And guess what? He did. So do it. I mean, do it. Like, be resourceful, find the path, find the means to invest in yourself so that you're not just working hard pointlessly, so that you're working hard in the right order, so that you can actually achieve the goal that you're super passionate about. Christina, Brian, do you have any other additional things that you want to add to this?
I would just like to add, you just said it actually, in terms of working and learning, but working towards something that you have clearly identified. So you hired a coach to make $1 million. Maybe $1 million was your target, but you have to have a target as well, because you can work as hard as you want, but if you're not moving in some direction or towards something, you're just going to keep working and just sort of going in circles. So a clear target is very important.
Clear target with a date, I would say.
Well, they say that a goal is a dream with a deadline. A dream with a deadline. One of the things that I've started teaching, I've taught thousands of people, is the turning points in my life. And I've read now about 6,000 books. You see some of the books behind me. They're all double packed. My whole house is full of books, upstairs, downstairs. I've written 90 books that have been published in 50 languages. And they're all basically on what you might call self-help. They're all taking and consolidating enormous amounts of material into a single book. This, for example, has probably got 100 books, and plus years and years and years of experience condensed into it. So you don't have to do all the work. The experts have read the book, sorted it out, picked the most valuable things, discussed them with other people, and then put them in a usable form. But let me give you what I call my golden triangle. And I find that in life, each person has turning points. This program, by the way, can be a turning point if the person watching is ready. You know the old saying, when the student is ready, the master appears. And what you are is you're a teacher. You teach people who are ready. If they're not ready, this will just go over their heads. And what I have found is that in life, you have turning points, and these are points where something happens and you learn something or experience something, and your life goes in a different direction. And my 3 turning points, I call them the golden triangle, which turn out to be the same for countless successful people. Number 1, when I was 21, I realized that I was responsible for my own life. And I learned the magic words, I am responsible. And you said it earlier, you never blame anybody for anything. You say, I am responsible. Everything that I am or ever will be is up to me. It's not up to someone else. My parents are not responsible. They did the best they could with what they had. Sometimes I've had my students tell me, what? I said, well, you think that your parents wanted to hurt you or criticize you. Well, your parents were just the result of their parents and their parents and they're down the various generations. So your parents wanted to be the best they could be for you, and what they gave you was all they had. So the majority of adults, maybe 80%, are still mad at their parents for something that they did or didn't do. And you can't move forward. Your feet are locked like in a concrete barrel. You can't move forward if you're still mad at your parents. So the starting point of becoming an adult, we say up to this point, you're a child. You're still blaming your parents. When you stop blaming your parents, you become an adult. So that's the first thing. I realized that I was responsible for my own life. The second thing, which happened a few years later, is I discovered goals. And I find that all successful people have written goals and plans, and they work on their goals, and they read about goals, and they study goals all the time. A person who studies, who has written goals, accomplishes 10 times as much, 10 times as fast as a person who does not have written goals. I am the best-selling author in the world on goals. I have been published in 30, 40 languages on goals. People who've read my materials and transformed their lives. It's just a very simple thing. Decide what you want, write it down, make a plan to achieve it, and work on it every day. And only 3% of adults have written goals. So that's the second part of the golden triangle. The third part is continuous learning. Is once you have accepted responsibility, you say responsibility for what? Your goals. Once you have chosen your goals, how do you achieve them? Is you learn and learn and learn whatever you need to learn. And here's a great question. Actually two questions. Question number one is, if you could achieve any goal in life, what one goal would have the greatest positive influence on your life? What would it be? Is it money? Is it health? What is it? The second question you ask is, what one skill would help you the most to achieve your most important goal? And you set that as a goal, and you make a plan, and you work on it every day. And if you'll do those three things, accept responsibility, set written goals, and learn everything you need to learn to achieve your goals, you'll transform your life almost like a miracle. And that becomes the driving influence I have seen all over the world. I worked with millionaires, multimillionaires, and 3 billionaires who were influenced by my material. Basically, their lives were changed by my material, and they did the three things: accept responsibility, set goals, and then continue to learn for the rest of your life. So that's, I think, if I teach it all over the world, if you just teach this and people accept it, it's life-changing and very fast, very fast.
Absolutely beautifully said. Thank you so much, Brian. You guys, stop blaming. Stop blaming the system. Stop blaming your parents. I know things are tough, but you blaming them and victimizing yourself is not going to set you free. Just listen to the person who's actually been successful to it. Let him lead you. I know some of your most successful books is Eat That Frog and Believe It to Achieve It. Which one of your books is specifically about goals, Brian, that people can go and read?
There are two books which are life-changing worldwide. One of them is called Maximum Achievement, and it's considered by most people to be the best single book ever written on personal success, relationships, health, money. It's everything is in there. It took me maybe 20, 25 years of reading, research, and teaching to come up with that book. But the second book is called Goals. And the book Goals, each of these books, people come up to me in my seminars all over the world, and they say these words. I've heard it so many times, it's almost a joke. They say, "You changed my life, you made me rich. You changed my life, you made me rich." And I say, well, what was it about my stuff? Because I teach so much material. What was it about my stuff that was helpful to you? And they smile and they beam like a Cheshire cat. They smile and they beam and they say, "It was the goals. It was the goals." I never heard about goals until I heard you teach about goals. And so I decided, what the heck? It costs nothing to give it a try. So I wrote down my goals and I worked on them every day, and my life transformed completely. Today I'm rich. One gentleman told me, I brought 38. I was broke at the bottom of my company and living in the basement of my mother and driving an old car. That was 2 years ago. Today, I brought 38 of my staff to this seminar I have operations in 3 states. It's the goals. It just changed my life. And people say, but what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? And I want to grab them and give them a smack. I want to say, no, that's the wrong question. The right question is, what if it does work? What if it does work? There's no cost to it. It doesn't cost you anything to practice the things that successful people like you and Christina are teaching. It costs nothing except a little bit of effort on your part. But the rewards are so extraordinary. They can be life-changing. So that's my contribution to you and to this program.
Thank you so much, Brian, Christina. This was just, I mean, I can't get enough of these kind of things because I've seen it over and over and over again. Work in action. And I know that we're humans, like our brain can just like drift away. You get stuck in traffic, you get mad at your spouse and you forget about it. Grab the book. I know that I'm going to put that in my wish list now. I'm going to read your other books as well, because the more it's practice makes perfect. It's like, okay, I read this book. It didn't work out for me. I'm going to be done with it. Read it again, do it again, and continue until you achieve that goal. You guys, we are here living proof of what is possible, of writing out your goals and working towards it and believing it actually works out. So stop blaming, stop procrastinating, and go do it. Go get it. Thank you guys so much again for joining. Share this video with anybody in your life who could benefit from this. Share it as many times as you can. This is going to make you look good, because if they make money because you send them this video, you're going to look good. They're going to come and thank you later on. So do it, spread the word. And of course, subscribe, comment, and like, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of the Invest Diva movement. Can we go for another silly face for the last episode?
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Okay.